I'm Kimberlyn. Today's story, The Making of a Hero. When you find yourself in need of inspiration or guided introspection, that's what I do. And that's why I'm here. Storytime is a virtual meeting space where we gather to connect. Life is all about connection. And yoga is the practice of building and nurturing authentic connections. By sharing our stories, we share our hearts. We connect more deeply, more intimately with ourselves and each other. Whether it's live and in real time or anytime, on your time, we're here to be together. Whether it's related to your practice on the mat or out in the world, to me, it's all yoga. And by that I mean that yoga is a way of being in the world. It's all part of living and learning. In other words, we're not here to be perfect or perform, rather to practice. I'm not here because I have it all figured out. On the contrary, I'm here because I believe that no matter what we've accomplished, what we've endured, life is better when we come together authentically and compassionately to share our stories. So some background. Before the miraculous birth of Krishna, the land of Mathura, under the cruel rule of King Kansa, a tyrant feared for his violence and oppression. At the wedding of his sister Devaki and Vasudeva, a divine prophecy declared that Devaki's 8th child would be the cause of Kansa's downfall. Terrified of this fate, Kansa imprisoned the couple and vowed to kill each of their children as they were born. Yet these events were not merely personal tragedies. They were part of a greater cosmic plan. The world had fallen into imbalance, weighed down by greed, corruption, and suffering. And the gods called upon Lord Vishnu to descend to earth. Thus, the stage was set for the birth of Krishna, Vishnu's incarnation, who would bring light, joy, and the promise of restoration to a world in need of balance. In this episode of Krishna's adventures, we meet Nanda and Yashoda. While Devaki and Vasudeva were imprisoned in Mathura, far away in the peaceful cowherd village of Gokul lived Nanda and his wife Yashoda. Known for their kindness and devotion, they were the beloved leaders of their community and caretakers of the simple, joy-filled life of the cowherds. Though deeply respected, their hearts carried a quiet longing, for they had no child of their own. In this story, we also meet Krishna's sister, Yogamaya, the divine feminine energy. She plays a vital yet often overlooked role in his birth story. Sent by Vishnu himself, she is the cosmic power of illusion and protection, guiding events so that the divine plan unfolds as it must. It was the 8th night after a dark moon in the month of August. Monsoon rains had just begun in the plains of northern India. The night sky, dark as ink and laden with black, ominous clouds, was lit every now and then with a bright, blinding streak of lightning. Rolling thunder made it impossible to hear anything. Throughout the day and night, rains had come in great torrents, causing flash floods in the city of Mathura and swelling the river Yamuna, where it flowed just outside the prison gates. The night was scary and dark. The river was deep and wild. Within the prison walls, Devaki gave birth to her 8th son. She named him Krishna, for he was as dark as the night outside. She raised the newborn to her lips to kiss him before Kansa took him away. Just then she noticed something strange, a halo around the baby's head. She whispered to Vasudeva, Look at our baby. They saw that in his tiny hands, the baby held a little conch shell, a mace, a discus, and a lotus flower, the 4 sacred objects of Lord Vishnu. They wondered out loud, could our baby be Lord Vishnu? In answer, the baby spoke. Mother, Father, this is not the first time I have come to earth, and it will not be the last. I come to protect the innocent every time the earth is taken over by evil. Quickly now, take me to Nanda and Yashoda's home. They will raise me as their own and bring their daughter back to my place with you. To take my place with you. The next moment, the 4 sacred objects disappeared from the baby's hands, and he became a helpless newborn again, squirming to find his thumb. Vasudeva noticed that his shackles had fallen to the floor. The lock on the gate had broken open, and as if by magic, the guards had fallen sound asleep. Quickly, he gathered some rags, wrapped the baby snugly, laid him in a basket, and stepped outside. Vasudeva knew that Nanda and his wife Yashoda lived in Gokul, a little village just across the river from the prison. But to get there, he had to cross the raging floodwaters. Help me, please, Narayana, he said as he stepped into the river, holding the baby high above his head. The water flowed right up to his chin, and he struggled against the powerful current. But just then, the river water touched one of Krishna's tiny toes, and immediately the flood began to subside. A clear path opened up right in front of Vasudeva, and a snake came slithering behind him, spreading its mighty hood over the baby to protect him from the downpour. In Nanda's house, his wife Yashoda was fast asleep after having given birth to a beautiful baby girl. Very quietly, Vasudeva tiptoed to Yashoda's bedside, swapped the babies, and walked all the way back to the prison, cradling her daughter in his arms. In the morning, Kansa got news of the birth. I will waste no time in getting rid of that baby, he thought, and he marched right over to Devaki's cell. Please spare this one child, brother. She's a little girl, cried Devaki. Kansa hesitated, but only for a moment. Maybe there's nothing to the prediction, he thought. The 8th child is supposed to be a boy. Then, fearing some trick, he roughly snatched the baby from his sister's frail arms. But as he tried to fling her against the wall like the others, the baby girl slipped right out of Kansa's hands. Magically resisting gravity, she floated up to a high spot on the ceiling beyond his reach and spoke, Kansa, your killer is in Gokul. Startled, Kansa looked up and saw that the baby was none other than Yogamaya, who had disguised herself as the fearsome goddess Durga to give him a really good scare. Pale and shaken, he fled from the cell. In Gokul, Nanda and Yashoda woke up in the morning and saw an unusually dark-skinned baby boy in their bed. I thought I had given birth to a baby girl, Yashoda said to herself. But the next moment her doubt vanished and she was flooded with an immense feeling of love for her new baby boy. Little Krishna grew to be an adorable child, always smiling and gurgling and growing stronger every day. Yashoda loved to carry him on her hip while she did her chores. But one day as she swept the courtyard, she said, "Either you are the heaviest baby on earth, or I am getting weak." She laid Krishna down to rest her weary back. At that very moment, a dust storm flew into the village. Dust stung Yashoda's eyes and blinded her. She groped around but could not find Krishna. She called out to him, but her voice was lost in the deafening roar of the storm. The storm was actually the demon Trinavrata. Kansa had sent him to Gokul to find and kill Krishna. When he spotted the baby in Yashoda's courtyard, he scooped him up and said, "Care to come for a ride, sonny?" Krishna never refused a chance for fun. He flew happily into the sky in the spinning cloud of dust. But soon, just like Yashoda, the weary demon began to mumble, "Either you are the heaviest baby on earth, or I am getting weak." Krishna continued to grow heavier and heavier. Trinavrata could not carry him anymore, but Krishna would not let go. Holding fast to the demon's dusty beard, he said, "I am going down, and you are going down with me." Soon they both came tumbling from the dusty sky. When the storm ended, a worried Yashoda called out, "Krishna! Krishna, where are you?" She heard Krishna's joyful squeals and found him well and happy, exactly where she had left him just a few moments before. But next to him was the shattered body of a demon. Krishna eventually started crawling and putting everything in his mouth. One morning, Yashoda spotted him snacking on dirt. "No, Krishna," she said, "open your mouth. Let me see." When she took a peek inside Krishna's mouth, she saw the whole cosmos, comets and stars, the moon, Earth, and all the other planets swirling around the sun. Yashoda fell to the ground and passed out. In her delirium, she babbled something about her son being God, but nobody could understand what she said. Krishna realized his mistake. He did not want Yashoda to worship him as a god. He had come to earth to be a human, and he rather enjoyed having a mother who loved him best just because he was her baby boy. He made it so that Yashoda had no memory of the strange sighting when she roused from her fainting. She held and cuddled Krishna just as she had before, dressing him in a yellow silk and tucking a peacock feather into his curly locks. The brilliant rainbow colors of the feather looked beautiful against Krishna's dark, glowing skin. When he was just a little boy, Krishna's family moved from Gokul to the village of Vrindavan. When he grew a little older, Krishna joined the other village boys as they herded the cows out to pasture. As a toddler, he had developed a taste for fresh butter. Now, he organized butter stealing parties with his cowherd friends. Krishna and company would sneak into their neighbors' larders and help themselves to as much butter as they could eat. The distraught neighbors came to Yashoda with their complaints. "Your Krishna is a thief. He steals our butter and disappears. And he makes our cows disappear at milking time. You must punish him, Yashoda. Do something." Yashoda tried to speak sternly to Krishna, but he would put on such an innocent smile and speak with such charm that she couldn't even stay angry for long. When Krishna gave his mother an affectionate bear hug and protested, "Mother, you love me. You know I don't steal," all of Yashoda's doubts and anger would fall from her like dry old leaves from the trees. No complaint could make Yashoda love Krishna any less. Soon, however, Krishna's fun with butter began costing the villagers their livelihood. Every week they carried pots of butter on their heads to pay the tax collectors across the river in Mathura. But the tax collectors got nothing when Krishna and his friends hid in the trees and stole the butter pots right off the milkmaids' heads. The villagers complained to Kansa. The villagers complained to Kansa that Krishna ate all their butter. Of course, that made Kansa furious. He turned to his demon crony Vasudeva and ordered him to kill Krishna, exclaiming, "That boy must die." Vasudeva turned himself into a calf and joined Krishna's herd. When Krishna comes to pet me, I will make a pulp out of him, he thought. But Krishna noticed that one of the calves looked a bit too perfect. Yet none of the cows would let him suckle. Curious, Krishna approached the calf and asked him, "Where is your mother?" The calf was waiting for just this moment. His features began to harden and he growled at Krishna. In a flash, Krishna grabbed the calf by his tail, spun him around above his head, and threw him up into the sky beyond the tree line. The calf landed with a thud among rocks and shrubs. But he was no longer a cute little calf. Now he was a dead demon. Next, Kansa sent the demon Bakasura to finish off Krishna. "I will make mincemeat out of Krishna with my sharp talons and beak," thought Bakasura as he turned himself into a bird and landed on the back of one of Krishna's cows. The cows grazed peacefully. A few birds rode on their backs, picking out ticks from time to time. But Krishna spotted a bird that seemed to be a little bit too alert, as if looking for someone. "Looks like you are from a different flock," Krishna said, and gently he lifted the bird off the cow's back. The demon bird was waiting for just this kind of a moment. He began pecking furiously at Krishna, but Krishna was not fooled. Krishna forced open his sharp beak, and instead of a bird, there lay Bakasura, meeting his maker. The demon Agasura was full of rage. He wanted to avenge the death of his brother, Bakasura. "I will eat Krishna alive," he promised Kansa, and he turned himself into a huge serpent. With his mouth wide open, he lay coiled in the path that Krishna took when he herded his cows back to the village. "You guys stay here. I need to see about this snake," Krishna said to his friends as he marched gallantly into the serpent's gaping mouth. As Krishna ventured further in, the serpent's long stomach got narrower and narrower. "Okay, it's time for me to grow up," said Krishna, and he began to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, stretching the serpent's belly until it could stretch no more. Krishna's friends heard a noise that sounded as if the earth itself was tearing apart, and out from the torn flesh of the serpent stepped a smiling Krishna. The stories of Krishna's brave encounters with the demons made all of the young milkmaids fall in love with him. Each of them wanted Krishna for her husband. One day, while the milkmaids were bathing at the river, Krishna happened to pass by. He spotted their clothes lying on the riverbank. Scooping them up, he climbed to the highest branch of a nearby tree and began playing his flute. When the girls heard his music, they wanted to come out of the river to meet him. But when they looked up, they saw their clothes hanging from the highest branches of the trees. "Give us our clothes, Krishna," they begged. "Come out of the river and get them yourselves," teased Krishna. One by one, the girls came out of the river, covering themselves with their hands as best they could. Krishna cast a kind gaze upon each of them, And as if by magic, the girls felt free of their romantic designs on Krishna. Now they felt only divine love in their hearts. "You are our Lord," they said. Krishna was very, very happy to be out from under so many marriage proposals. Krishna was very, very happy to be out from under so many marriage proposals. Though naughty and full of mischief, Krishna was also very good at understanding how the human heart yearns for love. On one full moon night, he began playing his flute. His divine music wafted into every home on the soft, floral-scented breeze, and from every home out came the milkmaids, tall and short, plump and thin, beautiful and homely, dark and fair. Not one of them could resist Krishna's enchanting music. Enchanted, they made a beeline for the source of the melody. Soon every milkmaid found herself facing her very own Krishna, for Krishna had multiplied himself into many. "I am everywhere," he said. "To experience me, all you have to do is awaken pure love in your heart." There was not a cloud in the sky. The milkmaids and Krishna danced and danced all night long. The moon shining brightly on their lovely faces, the rhythmic tapping of their feet and the rustling of their silky robes were the only sounds other than the melody from Krishna's flute. The real Krishna played and danced with his eternal sweetheart, Radha, just as he had promised goddess Lakshmi in the Kashir Sagar. Into her ear he whispered, "As long as the sun and the moon appear in the sky, our names will be chanted together." Today we've explored the story of Krishna's birth and early years, a tale filled with stormy nights, divine intervention, and mischievous adventures. What I love about these stories is that they're more than mythology. They are so familiar, despite some of the cultural anomalies. These timeless lessons relate to how we live, love, and grow. I want to look at 3 insights that we can carry into our own lives today. First, divine protection works through both miracles and human effort. When Vasudeva carried baby Krishna across the raging Yamuna River, it wasn't just the gods stepping in to calm the waters. It was also Vasudeva's courage, devotion, and determination that made the journey possible. This teaches us that grace and human action go hand in hand. In our lives, when challenges feel overwhelming, we can trust that unseen support is with us. But we're also called to take those brave steps, brave and steady steps. We are called to action. Second, true love sees beyond power and perfection. Even though Krishna revealed glimpses of his divine form, showing the whole cosmos in his mouth, he chose to be known to Yashoda as her playful, sometimes troublesome little boy. And Yashoda loved him not as a god, but simply as her child. This reminds us that the deepest kind of love doesn't rely on perfection, titles, or achievements. It's the love that sees us in our humanness and embraces us fully. And third, playfulness and joy are sacred pathways. From stealing butter to enchanting the village with his flute, Krishna shows us that the spiritual path is not just about discipline or struggle. It's also about delight, laughter, and the joy of connection. His dance with the milkmaids reveals a truth. The vine doesn't only meet us in stillness or in silence, but also in celebration, in music, and in play. Sometimes the most profound way to touch the sacred is to open our hearts with joy. So, as you reflect on Krishna's story, I invite you to ask yourself, where in your life do you need courage to step forward, trusting that unseen support is awaiting your initiation? Who loves you in a way that embraces your imperfect humanness? And how might you offer that kind of love to someone else? And finally, where can you make space for joy, laughter, or play as part of your own sacred practice? As Krishna reminds us, the path of life is not only about survival or duty, it's about love and joy that awakens the divine within us. When we look at Krishna's birth and childhood stories, we see a tapestry of miracles, love, and divine play. Yet, like all ancient stories, they also invite us to pause and ask, what do these tales mean for me today? And where do they sit uncomfortably with our modern values? I'll share 3 concerns I have with this story in Coach's Chat. I hope that you'll join me. My critique won't diminish Krishna's charm or his intention to help his community, but instead, help us to consider how we celebrate joy, rebellion, and humor while ensuring that respect, consent, and kindness guide our relationships. I hope that our conversation encourages each of us to reflect on how cultures sometimes excuse or even glorify boundary-crossing behaviors when performed by charismatic, powerful, or dominant figures, raising important questions about consent, accountability, and respect. So as we close today's story time, we carry with us many layers of Krishna's story, his miraculous birth, his playful adventures, and the lessons woven into every moment. For the courage of Vasudeva to the boundless love of Yashoda, to Krishna's own joyful mischief, we see a story that teaches us about love, courage, and the sacred in everyday life. May we remember that, like Krishna, we are capable of meeting challenges with bravery, embracing life with joy, and finding the divine in the ordinary moments that surround us. And as we step into our day, let's carry a bit of that playfulness, that devotion, and that wonder with us, trusting that even small acts of love and courage ripple far beyond what we can see. Until next time, may your hearts be open, your spirits light, and your eyes open to see the miracles in the world around you. I share these stories to expand our minds and our hearts, to grow in authentic alignment, and to help us move freely through the tasks of each and every day and the seasons of life. Every day is an invitation to begin again in intention and in alignment. Every day is an opportunity to know ourselves better through practice and study. Connection is key to receiving and benefiting from that invitation. My invitation to you is just that. Let's connect. I want to hear from you. How are you living your yoga? How are you living your joy? So let us close today with a blessing. May you breathe deeply, move freely, labor lovingly, and live vibrantly. May you be well. Namaste. See you next time as we continue to get to know Krishna and his magical adventures. And be sure to join me for Coach's Chat when we'll talk a little deeper about the cultural implications for modern living from this story of Krishna's childhood. take care of you, take care of each other. This is yoga living. Whether you visit us in person or online, whether it's for one-on-one or a group experience, we want to meet you in the practice. We want to support you in living your life's work.